What's up, Diablo 4 players? So let's talk about Season 5 and why it's kind of bad at the moment and we really need to see some massive improvements. So I'm going to go ahead and go over kind of the main problems that we have had on the PTR and then offer some solutions to make it more enjoyable. And it really comes down to several different things. A lot of people didn't get to test out the brand new items, and the point of a test server is to actually test out and play with these new items, and they made these actually more rare than Uber uniques, as I tried to farm and I legitimately ended up with more sparks than I did actually getting these items. Most of these items I ended up getting were from people in the stream just saying, hey Slazer, I got you, and thank you guys for that. So I was able to test it, but a lot of people didn't get to even test out the items. That's a major problem on your test server for the PTR. But then on top of that, the end game content that you guys are seeing here, well, it's not only too easy, but like you can ramp it up for a higher difficulty, but with no greater rewards. Why go higher when you're not getting some sort of crazy good reward? There's almost no point to doing the new Infernal Hordes mode over just doing the pit for progression because, well, if you actually use the pit for progression, you get way better rewards. So let's go ahead and actually talk about a lot of different things here, but I wanted to actually open it up with a couple different clips that actually hit the nail on the head from other content creators so you guys can know maybe kind of what to expect in Season 5 after, hopefully, fingers crossed that they fix some of these issues. So this person over here put the greatest words right here, and just listen to what he says and you'll understand.
How you're supposed to properly test the game when you have to go and farm for the stuff that you want to test.
Exactly. This is huge. I mean, you have content creators like Wudijo, another awesome fellow Diablo partner, saying the exact same thing pretty much. It's like, well, I wanted to test this, but I didn't even get my hands on it yet. When you have some of the most hardcore and dedicated fans for testing, you don't even really let them fully test out the items because we don't have access to just a vendor that says, here you go, here's all of the items that you need. And I think this really needs to be added into the PTR for future PTRs because, again, the point of a test server is to test it out. And if we're not getting good testing, well, we're just going to have a season that is broken or comes out with more bugs than really what should actually come out with. You also have Rob over here saying that, well, let's hear what he has to say.
Season theme, and here the feedback has been very negative, and I've expressed this as well here.
So he's pretty much saying the same thing that I've already mentioned. The rewards inside the area, when you're doing the end game content for the Infernal Hordes, the rewards are like laughably bad. I mean, look at what, you can get for the rewards when you see it in the video that's playing in the background in a moment over here. But basically, you're getting 5 Adupsite, which is the lowest tier of the pit material. There is no point to sit in the brand new mechanic, which takes way longer. Again, this is like about on average, it's like a 10-minute run, even for the lowest tier one. And then you get 5 of the lowest bottom tier material. I could go do like a pit 100 and get the obviously way better results in a shorter amount of time, even with a subpar build, and it just doesn't make sense to have this new endgame mechanic. Again, we're talking World Tier 4 minimum for what I was doing, and it just wasn't giving me good rewards. And then the chest really couldn't be opened up. You have another content creator, another fellow Diablo partner, Ponyhoff, saying this. Like, this is his intro for Season 5, and he's concerned. I'm very concerned as well, but let's hear what he has to say literally at the start of the video.
Season 5 is shaping up to be a disaster right now.
So, absolutely. So, like, this is something that is echoed across, and it's basically the boss is dropping nothing. You see Rax over here saying the same thing. So, a lot of these come down to basically the rewards not being as good as they should be for specifically the new season mechanic as well. But also, you just saw me do this weird thing on the bosses. The bosses are actually incredibly bugged right now. There's so many things where it's kind of up in the air. They haven't officially said if they meant the bosses to gain torment stacks, even though I melted the boss instantly, so didn't even get to build the stacks. The bosses are way harder. They mentioned that was a part of a bug in terms of the boss's HP just going crazy to the point where, like, a lot of the builds that we would want to test simply can't just walk in and fight the boss. It makes it a huge gap between the builds that like maybe are still like not that bad, and you know they normally would be okay, to the point where like if you're not playing the Uber S tier build, you can't even complete the boss because it is simply way too hard. Now there are some nicer things. You guys just saw me swap a skill point to Flurry, and there are a lot of awesome things coming out into the game, and it's specifically adding all of the brand new uniques as well as all the different buffs that classes are getting to kind of add more playstyles to the game, which is a great thing. However, one huge thing is that the main core point of a new season is to experience the new content, and if the new content isn't enjoyable, then that is definitely a problem. But you can see we're teleporting with Flurry. So again, there is awesome content in this season, but the seasonal mechanic in particular is one area where I think could be improved upon a lot. So now that we got kind of like the intro and kind of the main core part of the video out of the way, I want to go over the things that I'm going to be submitting to Blizzard for what I suggest they need to add in the future of the PTR. So for starters, they need to give us the new items to test. Whether they want to give us like an NPC to talk to that just lets us select any item that we want, or jank meme in Diablo 3, which was like the GOAT NPC that would just give you all the brand new items instantly. We need an NPC like that. All the items that they give you when you make a new character, when you level up to 100, they're not even 925. Like, what is that? That makes absolutely no sense. Also, another huge thing, it didn't give us all of the aspects. Again, this is a part of the huge thing that everyone's talking about, which is like, dude, you're not even letting us test on the test server. The test server is literally 1 week. If the test server was available 24/7, we could always just hop onto the test server. Cool. But if you're giving us a limited amount of time and we got to farm these items that seem to be more rare than Uber uniques at the moment, again, I was doing the Uber bosses. I was getting more Uber uniques than getting any of those to drop. In fact, I actually got my stuff off of like the Whispers, but maybe they're not added into the loot table yet. I don't know. It just felt like that these new items to test out, they were just way too rare. So just give us all of those. We need to have all the aspects unlocked. We have to have all the tempering recipes unlocked. I had to sit there for hours farming every single temper recipe that I needed to test out. That was terrible. It shouldn't be in the PTR. If for me that can play 30 hours a day and saying that, like, you know, I'm having trouble getting these things, for your average player that wants to test out this thing, that's big. On top of that, they need to give us the ability to have the Nightmare Dungeon 46 completed, so we can actually play the pit. And then also an NPC to obtain the new content. I'm talking about the Infernal Compasses. I'm having to go farm in the Helltide on the PTR so I can get the brand new item to test out. Now, they had buffed the drop rate eventually because it was so bad, but again, these are things for the future. Just let us go to an NPC and just get whatever new content that is to be tested instantly, okay? And then on top of that, it'd be really nice to have infinite obols, infinite masterworking materials, infinite temper attempts so we don't have to like brick items again, because that's a whole nother story of what we need to fix in the game in general. I also think we should get infinite gold in the PTR as well. And then on top of that, as far as the Infernal Hordes feedback, because this is another huge area that needs to be improved on. So the reward chest, which I already showed you guys, people are really like concerned about the next season, specifically for the rewards. And I know I'm gonna note this to Blizzard when I do my type up as a Diablo partner for things that they have to fix, like critical. There is no point in doing the brand new like endgame content, the Infernal Hordes, this thing over here. What is the point of doing this new mode other than, okay, it's a new mode, we play it, and that's it? The rewards are terrible. It is way too hard to access the area. The density is really bad. And on top of that, and the most important thing is, there's no newer reward to obtain here, right? There's not even like a good reward. There's not even like, oh, I can get my sparks to craft my Uber unique. Oh, I can guarantee myself that brand new unique. Unless their goal is to put all of the brand new uniques in here, which I think that may be kind of a mistake, because then people only want to do this to get the thing and then they're never going to do it again. You need to make this lucrative enough to where this is a main endgame activity for some players. And I think that that could be very important to make sure that you want the players to engage in the new content, right? But on top of that, they need to make it easier to obtain the compass. And while they have done that on the PTR, to make it so you have to go back and then do nightmare dungeons to do old content to then maybe access the new content, I think you should just be able to play the new content, right? Just go out there, just like in like the vampire season, like people really like that season in season 2, just to go out and just get the new form of content, right? Just you can just go and explore and do whatever is the new thing versus going back to do legacy content, and then you can maybe have a chance at getting it. But I think that the rewards need to be obtainable for the casuals as well. And what I mean by that is the chest at the very end doesn't even drop anything good. And on top of that, it requires 250 of the new currency, the Aether, which is already really hard to obtain. And they really need to make it like way easier, honestly. Just more Aether added in would be a really nice thing. And then on top of that, I want to have other suggestions for actual rewards, because again, it comes down to the chest. You either get some gold, which is like very mediocre. You either open up a chest and get one random legendary, which is laughable for 10 minutes of work. And then, oh, you can get maybe that 250 chest, and maybe you can get a greater affix guaranteed. You can go farm the Blood Maiden in a few minutes and get a greater affix item. Unless it's like a guaranteed, I get a greater affix two-handed weapon, I get a greater affix bow, I get a greater affix sword. If I could select which item is greater affixed, you know, in the reward table, that would be another bonus. But I have some visuals I wanted to add that would really help out make this new endgame activity worth doing. So for starters, here are some suggestions I have, and I would love to know yours down below so I can submit them to Blizzard as a partner as well. So first off, the whole tempering and masterworking system in the game, it would be really awesome to be able to select maybe a very specific temper. Like I can choose exactly what I want as a reward inside of the brand new Infernal Hordes mode. Or maybe I could reset my tempering, like, you know, chances so I can go back to 5 out of 5. Maybe I bricked an item. So I have a reason to go do the new endgame content. So that would be one suggestion. Another one would be to guarantee get whatever role that I want at the occultist. So it would be like a special, like super occultist, and you could just select whatever mod I want. I could just choose it and I'm done. Specifically on the amulets, it is an absolute pain in this game because they have weighted rolls, which I really think that is kind of a bad system because, yeah, some of these things, if you want to get some of the rogue ones or any of them for any character, it's just simply way too rare. So add the ability to just select exactly what I want. Again, I'm not talking about just the occultist in general. I'm talking about at the very end, there's a special occultist that lets you basically select whatever one thing that you would want. So there's a reason to continuously go and do the new content. So that'd be another awesome thing. Or maybe you can re-roll the ranges on the item. So you know how it'd be like, you know, let's say you get crit damage and it rolls from 100 to 150 or whatever. You could just re-roll all of the stats in the item, or maybe even just one stat on the item. That would be cool too. Another thing would be awesome is if you could just add a greater affix on items. So it takes your item and it randomly rolls one greater affix on the choices. So if I still get an item that drops and it rolls like, you know, this exact stats that I want. Maybe that's like vulnerable damage. Maybe it's dexterity and max life, right? I take the item and then I can greater affix one of them. Or if I take an item that already has a greater affix, I can go ahead and continuously upgrade my items as you progress. That'd be good. Another thing that would be great is to add the uber uniques or sparks. I think that'd be like another like great change. Here's what I was talking about. Basically just adding the greater affix. We could take an item and then just go make it greater affix. But another great thing would be to either have the uber uniques have a potential to drop in the chest, or maybe we can save a bunch of the materials and then for like, I don't know, 1,000 we can guarantee get one random uber unique, or we can get just a spark. You know, whether they want to do whatever, it would just be much better because again, at the moment there's no point in doing the newer content, and I think that that is a huge deal. But as far as that goes, that's like the main things that I want to see changed in season 5 is mainly that on the PTR, those loads of changes that we need to see, and some of the builds, I mean, as far as balance goes, expect things to be unbalanced. I know some people are complaining, dude, it's so unbalanced. My pet druid is doing 0 DPS while we have the chain lightning doing billions and quadrillions of damage. I get that. That's part of PTR. That's the point of testing. But when you have so many players that literally cannot get the items to test out, that's a problem for PTR. But again, I think the main concern is if we're playing a new season, I want to do the new seasonal content. If the season comes out and it's the exact same, I don't even see a point of playing. I'd rather just play on Eternal because I have all my gear and I'm ready to go, which means the life cycle of your players hopping into the season is going to be significantly diminished because there's no point. Like in season 4, the Holy Bolt was basically the only new thing that we had access to, right? You could play an Eternal character and basically have the same gameplay experience minus the Elixir of Holy Bolt. But then the Holy Bolt Elixir got nerfed, and that would be like kind of a reason why people would want to play on a season versus non-season. But that's the main thing that I want to get out of this video and talk about kind of why season 5 is bad at the moment and some areas where we can actually fix it, because I want the game to do well. I'm not just complaining to complain. I want to offer some solutions as well as get your guys' feedback because I want this game to be as good as it possibly can. So let me know, guys, what you would fix with season 5 from the PTR and kind of the other changes that I mentioned. Do you disagree with any of them? Because I try to keep these videos objective. Like, for example, they should give you infinite obols. They should give you all the brand new items to test. I want to keep it kind of objective where everyone can have exactly kind of the stuff that should be required to actually successfully test out this stuff. But anyways, let me know your thoughts down below. That's going to wrap things up. If you guys enjoyed the video, drop a like on it. If you're new here, subscribe to the bell so you don't miss out on more Diablo and other gaming content. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.